Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about whether or not a narcissist can change. Now, when it comes to people in general, most people can change if they wish to do so. However, when it comes to a narcissist, due to their core beliefs, due to their values, more often than not, they don't change. They change temporarily to keep control. A narcissist will give us a glimpse of hope that they will change. However, due to the fact that they believe they're entitled to do as they please, the fact that they lack the ability to take responsibility, to take ownership for their own behaviour, meaning they pass the blame over to somebody else, so they don't see a reason why they need to change because they don't see themselves as the problem. Their sense of entitlement often means that they don't change. Their lack of empathy to care for how their behaviour affects other people often means that they don't change. The fact that they're deeply envious of other people, believing others are envious of them, meaning they often believe that the other person is at fault, meaning that they don't change. Most people are capable of change, and you'll see a narcissist change temporarily to meet a need of their own. And even those that do long therapy, that do the psychotherapy to put in the hard work, learn coping strategies to deal with their disorder. They don't change out of that disorder. They learn how to manage their disorder, which takes time and it takes practice, but they don't change who they fundamentally are. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder to give you more information on the people you might be dealing with in your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you overcome narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. Many psychologists and researchers suggest they haven't found one that has changed. The narcissist personality disorder is on a spectrum, so there is those who will never change. Most can and do temporarily, selfishly, to exploit someone to meet a need of their own, and those who can change if they want to alter their patterns of behaviour. It is usually temporary change. Most are capable of changing on a permanent basis. However, most don't want to, and it wouldn't be easy to do so. In order to change, you have to take a look deep within yourself and want it seriously. You have to be aware of your mistakes, to be able to recognise your behaviour, to manage your behaviour. Just like we cannot change what we don't know or understand, and even when we know it or understand it, it takes work, it takes practice. As a narcissist blames all others for their mistakes, they see no reason to change. And even those who recognise their behaviour, they lack the empathy to care for how their behaviour hurts those around them. They only care about getting their needs met. They have a personality disorder and they don't change or lose that disorder. That is who they are. Yes, they can change their behaviour temporarily, their treatment of others temporarily to meet a need of their own. To genuinely change into someone who doesn't hurt others would take hard work and be extremely challenging for them. They can learn to manage themselves, as most narcissistic people can manage themselves very well at times, especially when they're around witnesses to their behaviour. Narcissists can change. They change their lies, they change their manipulation, they change their partners, they change their history, they rewrite history, they change reality. They cannot pull the disorder out and change into somebody new. If they have the disorder, it is who they are. They can not change to heal their narcissism. However, they can change their behaviour, and plenty do. You've seen it yourself, how one minute they are so lovely and then the next they are so cruel, how they have treated you so badly and now they're treating you so nicely. The problem is once their need is met, they are straight back to being who they are. Or if a need isn't being met, the tantrums come back out to play with hideous effects on those around them who care for them. Even their nice side is manipulation, that superficial charm to draw people in. The problem has never been that they cannot change. The problem is they don't want to change on a permanent basis. They've built big walls up to protect themselves, often from going into fight mode as a child, not always. One of the human's go-to survival mechanisms is the fight mode. They have closed themselves off to people's feelings and only think of how best to serve and protect themselves. Not developing the attachment to care for others in a moment of disagreement, also limited empathy towards others. They lack in empathy to care for those they hurt, and without remorse, they see no reason to change. Without object consistency, as soon as there is a disagreement with a loved one, they lack the empathy to care about how their behaviour might affect that loved one. Their own personal insecurities run deep. We all have insecurities. Being able to admit faults of their own, to learn from past mistakes of bad behaviour, would take great strength and courage. Deep down, most are weak and rely upon placing fear into others to keep control, crossing between charming people in to give them false hope, creating fear to maintain control. Owning up to past behaviour of things they have put others through does not match their ego and their superiority. The conflict this would cause within themselves would cause massive pain to themselves, which is what they're trying to avoid, pain. They also change reality so many times that most believe their own version of events. Those who keep rewriting history often end up believing their own rewritten version of their history. Deep down, most narcissists are stuck in that woe is me with many hidden secrets. They do not feel guilty for the things that they have done. They might feel guilt in the moment, which is why they quickly shift the blame to remove any feelings of shame. They blame the other person, therefore they believe that the other person needs to change and they don't see themselves as having any sort of problem. They project the blame, they project the guilt onto someone else. If they feel shame, that they will also quickly blame shift that shame onto someone else so that they can remove any of those feelings. In order to change, people have to recognise their own faults, their own mistakes within themselves. We all make them. Failure is just our first attempt in learning. We have to acknowledge them, see if we can accept them or if we need to change them. The first step is recognising what it is you need or want to change, which is a narcissist doesn't want to recognise their own behaviour as negatively impacting those around them. They're not going to change their behaviour. As a narcissist blames those around them, they change the people they associate themselves with, slowly losing trust in others, slowly believing they've ended up in the same situation because of who others are and nothing to do with themselves. It seems the older they get, the more hurt and pain they cause to those around them. Most do grow old alone. Finding a therapist strong enough to help them without falling for the lies and the charm, being able to listen and challenge them and try and help someone when what they've done to others is being explained to the therapist is a challenge within itself. Once a narcissist would take the journey to know who they indeed are, they could then resume some level of empathy. But they would need to work incredibly hard. Most do not want to, only temporarily to meet a need of their own. The narcissist personality disorder is not a curable disorder. It is treatable if the person is willing to acknowledge, accept, and work on themselves, which unfortunately, as a narcissist is never accountable for their behaviour, doesn't see a problem within themselves, has an exaggerated sense of self-importance, has low levels of empathy, high, deeply hidden levels of insecurities, has a sense of entitlement, is arrogance, is unpleasantly proud of who they are as a person. It has a need of power and control, expectations of special treatment, prone to putting others down. There's an awful lot of work they need to do, and all of it goes against who they indeed are. As they are unwilling to accept any weakness or accept responsibility, it's challenging for them to go to therapy to get genuine help. They'd have to have an extreme shift in personality and in their values, an extreme shift within their belief system. One method that could be used is relearning behaviour, but it's an extremely harsh lesson, and finding someone who would want to do it, as it's incredibly unethical. Relearning behaviours, like an elephant in a circus, is cruel and not advised. At some circuses, baby elephants are dragged away from their mothers, often still nursing, and have ropes tied around them. They are then punished for any type of instinctive behaviour until their spirit is broken. They become submissive and obedient for fear of punishment. They are dominated and trained either from being chained up to when they're allowed to sleep and eat to physical violence. Eventually, when they are let off the chains, they've lost all instincts to who they are and left with learned behaviours. Those partners or children, friends, family of narcissistic people are brainwashed into this confusion. The difference between realities and beliefs causes cognitive dissonance, living in fear. Most people just give up and give in. Until something significant happens, one affair out of plenty, one punch, one simple word said, and people do leave and pick themselves back up. If you could get a narcissist to be willing to agree and sign up, the fastest method would be to inflict some form of pain. If every time they hurt someone, they had to taser themselves, they would soon unlearn behaviour that hurts people and would stop. To break the long-term bad lifetime habits, addictions, all humans need to be able to accept responsibility within themselves. And the pain of changing needs to be less than the pain of staying as who they are. They need enough leverage to change. Accepting they need to break the addictions, have valid reason for doing so, have enough reason why, have several consequences if they go back to the addictions. It takes an average of 7 attempts to leave a narcissistic relationship, depending on the person, how long they were in the relationship, and so many other factors. At some point, there becomes something that clicks, and you realise that there's so much more to life, that the pain in staying is worse than the pain in leaving. It's a road to recovery with baby steps each and every day. You might take a couple back or a couple to the side, just refocus and go again. You can, and it will. When it comes to a narcissist, most do not change, and you certainly cannot change them. It's a hard enough job changing ourselves. However, when you start to change things for yourself, your life starts to change for you. So concentrate on who you'd like to be, what you'd like to out of your life, creating the days that you deserve to create the happiness that you deserve. If anyone has any thoughts on the video or any advice, please add those into the comments, as you never know who's reading through, that it might help. I shall add the videos into the description on the narcissist future faking and lies that narcissistic people tell to keep you locked in the relationship, as well as the video on cognitive dissonance, which explains more on what happens to you within the dynamics of a narcissistic relationship. Thank you very much for listening. Go out there, create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.